we're here tonight with Robert Evans, one of our Surrey County Councillors, so very privileged to have him here tonight, to hopefully dispel some of the myths that have been put out recently by the government with regard to the free school meals. So Robert, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Firstly, on the council funding, the government say that you've had an increase in funding due to COVID, and that should cover the free school meals. So why can't that cover the meals for these vulnerable children?
Well, the money that was given for COVID is supposed to be going for a lot of other things. It wasn't earmarked or directed specifically at free school meals. And the free school meals are important to a large number of children, a surprisingly large number, even in Surrey, which is supposed to be a wealthy county. There are children who depend on their school meals, their free school meals, for their daily nourishment, get a good hot meal inside them to make sure they're fit and healthy. And, you know, even in prosperous Surrey, there's something like 15,000 pupils in our schools who are eligible for free school meals. That is quite a lot in Surrey, and it's, you know, breaks down in each of constituencies to at least 1,000 in each constituency. You know, Jeremy Hunt's own constituency, it's well over 1,000, 1,150 in southwest Surrey. So it's hitting every constituency, or in every constituency there are children who depend on their daily free school meal.
And have we seen that number increase during COVID, the number of children on preschool meals?
Well, the number of free school children eligible will inevitably increase, because during COVID, we know parents have lost their job or have been on short time. And also there will be more children, sadly, whose parents haven't qualified or haven't applied for them. But yes, the numbers have been increasing because of the desperate states that some people have got into through no fault of their own.
So in the paper today, I saw that our local MPs have written that universal credit should cover this, this funding for school meals, and indeed universal credit has been increased this year. Why, in your opinion, is that not sufficient for funding this?
Well, free school meals are separate. Universal credit wasn't issued with the intention of paying for free school meals. Universal credit had other dimensions to it, or other purposes, and there are lots of things that families need universal credit to cover. And if you are in a situation where you are not sure how you're going to clothe your children or provide food for them, or the general everyday living costs that families have, and it's tough, it's really hard for some of the families that I know and see, the universal credit is not going to answer all their questions. It's not going to provide the same thing that a free school meal would have done. And the government supported free school meals over the summer holidays when pushed to by Marcus Rashford. And now we're only asking it for a week over half term, an extra time at Christmas, you know. And for a government who's spending a great deal of money, which I recognise that they have to, and I applaud them for some of the initiatives, this is a drop in the ocean by comparison with the huge amounts of money that have been spent on, maybe quite rightly, but spent on bailing out businesses. This is to stop children going hungry or being generally short of food at holiday time or at Christmas.
So in summary, what we can say from refuting the arguments that we've heard recently is that the extra funding that the Conservative government have been talking about was not designed for this purpose. It was designed to cover other costs of COVID, and I'm sure it probably doesn't even go anywhere near covering that, particularly considering the huge deficits that councils have found themselves in over the last few years. And universal credit as a means of benefit is actually less generous than the system it replaced. So there's been more pressure on families anyway. So during such a time as this, a time of crisis when we should be pulling together, at the very least, we should be helping those that are most vulnerable and helping the children in our community.
It is about helping the most vulnerable. It's a bit like saying to children, well, we give you pocket money every day. Let you use your pocket money for buying a free school meals or buying something at lunchtime. And there's a difference. You know, obviously children would go out and buy a bag of crisps or whatever, and a free school meal is a balanced meal. But you know what gets me most, Tim, is that Surrey has 11 MPs, all of them Conservatives. 10 of them turned up to vote in that vote in the House of Commons, and I don't know why Dominic Raab wasn't there. I know he's Foreign Secretary, so let's exclude him. But those 10, all of them, every one of them, every man and woman of them decided that the best way to vote was not to extend free school meals. Now, either they've got no conscience, or they're following a whip, or they didn't know what they were voting on, none of which is a plausible excuse that stands up to close scrutiny. You know, we're talking about child poverty, children in need, £2.40 a day. It really isn't very much to ask in a compassionate society. You know, and I saw something in one of the papers the other day, a letter from somebody that said, is there any other country in the world where they have a vote in the their House of Commons or their equivalent on whether children should go hungry or not? Well, no, there isn't. You know, this is really quite deplorable, and it's something that I think this government will, if it lasts any length of time, will regret.
Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.